Hi, I'm Lisa Bagshaw. Welcome to Bold Leaps, the show that interviews creative, inspiring, successful people about the risks they've taken to pursue their dreams. And today's guest is award-winning actress, writer, and comedian Jennifer Robertson. Based on a dream by her father, one of Canada's funniest and most beloved political satirists, Bob Robertson of Double Exposure, Jennifer spent about 6 years of her childhood living a fun and free life on Salt Spring Island with her parents and brother. By 5 years old, Jennifer had given names and voices to her stuffed animals, which was no surprise given her father's talent for impersonations. At 8, her dad moved the family to Burnaby to pursue his acting career, and Jen remembers early days of being mesmerized by comedy legends Carol Burnett and I Love Lucy. She started pursuing her passion of acting by taking courses at the Carousel Theatre on Granville Island when she was in grade 12, and committed to her craft when she decided to move to Toronto when she was 18. She sharpened her teeth as a sketch writer at iconic Canadian comedy series SCTV, and for decades divided her time between Toronto, Vancouver, and LA as a working actress, writer, winning awards for almost everything she did. But her career was not a straight line, and not without rejection, self-doubt, and hard times. It wasn't until she got the role of Jocelyn on international success Schitt's Creek that her world began to soar. After 6 extremely successful seasons as the world's favorite mayor's wife, she landed a lead role on Netflix sensation Ginny and Georgia, and her life has been on an upwards trajectory ever since. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you. What an intro. Whoa.
I'm so excited to talk to you because your story, primarily as a working actress and writer, all the ups and downs, all the rejection, it's just so inspiring. So
I mean, it's part of the game.
Part of the game.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who's still around has experienced it on some level, I think. Whether it's just in whatever level you're playing at, you're still feeling like you have something to prove, you have something to do.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to get into that. It's quite a story. So let's start with your childhood.
Okay.
What was it like growing up on Salt Spring Island in terms of fostering your creativity?
I think it was a wonderful place to be a young kid. I think I spent a lot of time just in the woods.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly my memory is like the woods. I think I got ringworm from kissing too many animals. It was a very idyllic. Kissing too many. I think you get it from animals. And I just remember my mom seeing it on me. It was like a circle on my arm, and then we went to the doctors, and he's like, does she have close contact with animals? And then I just played a montage in my mind of all the animals I'd kissed that week. Just anything I get my mitts on, I would
these
kiss.
are not the stuffed animals.
No, real animals. Yeah. Any animals, our neighbors' dogs, rabbits. If I could get my hands on it, I was probably going to, like, not deep mouth kiss it.
No, of course not.
To be clear. But it was a very natural, wonderful place to be.
And that's where you were doing puppet shows and impersonations of with your stuffed animals.
That's when the kindergarten teacher called my parents in and said, we have concerns. When she does the puppet show, all the puppets have different voices, and we're wondering if there's some issues. And they said, no, she's just doing what her dad does. And they went, okay, because the multiple voices was concerning us.
Little did they know.
Little did they know.
And were your parents supportive of your creativity?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my dad was creative also. My mom was a very serious woman. I only say that because she declared she was the world's most serious woman while we were growing up. But she still supported all those things and would drive me to classes and creative things. I was asked to leave ballet while we were on the island because too much talking. She came to my parents' house and she went, this is not for her. She can't stop talking and making jokes. And then I made a living talking and making jokes. So you see, we all find our destiny.
We all find our way. So I want to hop to when you made the decision, the huge decision. I think it's like the first real bold leap of your life when you were 18.
Yeah.
Moving to Toronto.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah. I cried a lot for the first few months. You know, we didn't really have, I think people had slidey cell phones, but I think my phone bill was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month because I was just calling my parents going, I don't know what I've done. I mean, I moved from Vancouver to Toronto.
It's huge.
In October. I lived right on the water. I was like, this is so cold. My skin was like falling off in chunks. And I wasn't sure what I had done, but I did start taking classes at Second City, and that was why I was there. And so despite all the other stuff, I knew, 2 days a week when I went to those classes, I knew why I was there.
And then you were a very successful working actress, writer for decades.
Yeah.
And winning awards.
Yeah.
That lifestyle must be very, like, a lot of rejection and self-doubt, uncertainty.
Definitely. I mean, especially the world of like TV and film and pitching a show. I mean, I've been in development with CBC for probably 6 or 7 shows at this point. None of them have been made. Every time you learn something, you get better every time, but it's not just you, it's what the network needs. It's what, this is the thing. They do say that it's all that hard work, and then there's just some luck that has to play into it because whatever you're bringing to someone's desk is what they're looking for at that time, or whatever you did in the audition is what's connecting with the people who are casting. But you just have to keep doing the work and then wait for the stars to align.
The waiting must be really challenging.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
But you do your own thing. Like I've always written and done sketch or stand-up I used to do, or now I write. So I always have something that I feel like I control, something that I don't need somebody else's permission to do. And I think that's the main thing as a creative person is you have the other things that you're waiting, the opportunities you're waiting for, but you need something that's yours that you can do no matter what anyone says, that belongs to you, that feeds you as a creative person, and you don't need anybody else to like approve of you to do that. I did stand-up, I did sketch, and you just find rooms and you go and do your thing and, talk about, valleys and mountains and hills. I was doing stand-up on a fairly regular basis, and my agent got me a gig for this TV special out of London, England called World Stands Up. And I went and died, like completely bombed in front of 2,000 people in a theater for a TV taping. And while it felt like the worst moment ever of my life, after that, it was like another birth. It was like, well, now I'm not scared to go and audition for 3 people behind a table in a casting session. Because once you've had 2,000 South Londoners stare at you, you can do it. You can survive anything.
And that's how you felt.
Yeah.
So it gave you confidence.
It gave me confidence. It kind of did the opposite. Because I was like, that was the worst thing. You ask people, they imagine stand-up being horrible and no one laughing. On a stage for a TV taping, no laughs. And I was like, well, the sun rose the next day and I got up. So if I can do that, I can do anything.
Well, that is an incredible attitude. Inspiring. I knew you'd be so inspiring on this show. So thank you so much. We have to take a break. But when we come back, I am going to ask Jenn about the Schitt's Creek experience. Stay with us. Welcome back to Bold Leaps. I am here with the uber talented, uber funny Jenn Robertson of Schitt's Creek and Ginny and Georgia, 2 incredible sensations. Okay, I'm so excited about this. I want to talk about your initial experience with Schitt's Creek. So where were you at in your life when the audition came down the pike for Jocelyn?
I was living in LA with my then husband and my 3-year-old daughter. Both of us are actors. never a good idea. Try to marry somebody who's something stable, if you can. Both of us were auditioning, but hadn't worked. Bank account was dwindling. We were both trying to figure out what day jobs each of us could get to kind of keep things going. And it was really tough. And I auditioned for the show.
That's quite dire.
Yeah. I auditioned for the show in LA and then didn't hear. So I had assumed that it had gone away, and then 8 weeks later, got the call.
8 weeks?
8 weeks later.
You had to wait 8
2 months.
weeks.
Yeah.
That's 2 months.
Yeah. I assumed I didn't have that job. So I had filled out an application to stock the shelves at Petco.
You did not.
I did, because it was
You did not.
I did, because it was from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. So we were trying to like figure out parenting and still being able to audition. So I was like, I'll work early mornings, you work nights. Our days are free to get our kid to school and both audition for things. And I kept saying, it's not going to be one thing that's going to fix this. And then it was one thing that fixed it.
One thing fixed it. When you read the script for this audition, what did you think with this?
I loved it. And someone said it was Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy. And so I put a lot of work in it. But I know every single Canadian actress who was going out for any roles on the show put a lot of work into it, because they are comedy royalty.
Iconic.
But they did give us a lot of time with the script, which was really helpful. So by the time I was in the audition, I knew all the sides backwards and forwards and felt very comfortable. So I was able to just sort of play with the character.
Did you feel like you nailed it, or did you feel you did actually?
I feel like I
deliver your
did my best.
Yeah.
I feel like I did my best, because even sometimes when you feel like you nailed it, you look just like somebody's cousin they don't like, or you're just not what they imagined the character to look like. So even doing a great audition, which is hard to accept as an actor, because you're always trying to figure out, what can I do to give myself the advantage? All you can do is your absolute best, and that's it. That's all you can do.
And then again, everything is out of your control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you got to have the thing, because everything else is waiting. And I had a 2.5-year-old. They're uncontrollable.
Uncontrollable.
There's no control in my life.
A lot of lack of control.
A lack of control.
So what about, where were you when you got the call that the
I was at home.
Yeah, and what happened?
I mean, I talked to my agent briefly, and they immediately sort of start going into the deal points, and you're just still trying to kind of process the information.
That you got the
job. Well, but they do have to negotiate also. That's part of the thing. But of course I knew I would have done it for $1.
Yeah. Yeah, to work with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then hung up the phone, and then sort of like told my husband, and we just kind of, I think it took time. I think like a couple days to realize that it was actually happening.
And did you have a sense at that point that it was going to be big?
I knew based on the cast that it was going to be special.
Right.
But I didn't know. You never know when something's going to be big. You can we've all seen movies with like the biggest movie stars that have still flopped.
Exactly.
So,
again, out of control.
Out of control.
So what about the first scene that you did was that at your house? And
it was at the motel. And I was coming, and I was bringing them. It was with Catherine and Eugene. They weren't going to like ease me in. It was like, how about the first scene you just do with these two amazing people who you admired your entire life? And I had a tuna casserole I was bringing to them in the scene, and I was completely befuddled for the whole thing. And I just smelled tuna, and I felt unwell, and I like couldn't get my lines straight, and it was just like, everyone was like, take a beat, it's okay. But everyone felt like that when people would come to be guest stars on the show, who were also huge fans of them. They would just be messaging me going, what should I do? What should I say? I go, they're lovely people. You don't have to do anything or say anything. It's a lovely, warm set, and it's going to be great.
I think that's a really good point, because how could you not be intimidated if you're in a scene with these people? So how did you overcome that?
I just had to pull myself together to finish that scene. And I think it was someone else in the cast. I think it was actually Chris Elliott, who saw that I was nervous, and he said, you have every right to be here, you have the right to be here.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So you've earned this, so just, you can relax. I was like, okay, because sometimes they fire people. He's like, no, just relax. I was like, okay.
So you were able to
Yeah.
calm down and be
Well, every day you come back to set
Yeah.
and you get in a rhythm and you get to know everybody. Every set, you know, you're nervous every set. You're nervous every new season that you're coming back to a show. It's just like going back to school and every September and you're kind of like, well, you know, you got to get your sea legs back.
Boy, you know, as a fan, you never see that.
No.
Obviously. I mean, you just look, I said this to you before, it looks like the role was written for you.
Well, at a certain point, the writers are watching and seeing, and I think you get a couple seasons into a show and there is a little bit of a blend. They start to see little things that you do and they start popping up in the script, or, you know, I think it does morph a little bit once you get a few seasons into a show. They're brilliant writers, such great writing on the show. A lot of people think there's a lot of improv on the show because of Catherine and Eugene and everybody. It's not. There's very little improv on the show. What you're seeing is what was written by the incredible writers.
I was also wondering about imposter syndrome. Did you suffer from that at all when you were?
It doesn't matter. You know, every day it's a bit like a goldfish. Even though you've done all these things, it's like you have this short little memory and you arrive in a place where there's people you admire and you know, it's just a bigger project or a bigger show. I think everybody feels a little bit like, oh, and as a writer, you're in a writing room and you're like, I didn't go to college. Should I be here? You know,
Wow.
you just have to push through it. And I think so many people feel that.
I think
We work so hard for things and then you get there and go, I don't know if I deserve this. It's like a very Canadian. I was auditioning for this improv thing in LA when I first moved there. It was like Ashton Kutcher. It was a prank show. And it was it was like a chorus line audition. It was like, they just would cut people until it was down to like me and this one other actress. And we were doing scenes and then the directors would talk and then we'd do another scene. And at one point I went, you're really funny. And she went, I know. And I went, oh. I was like, you're not in Canada anymore. Because in Canada, then you go, you too. And you'd have a moment. But this girl was like, I know.
Oh my God.
And you're like, okay, there's something to be learned from this a little bit. Like Canada's very like, oh shucks, look at the floor, don't take it in. There's something to be learned from, I know.
I know. Well, believe it or not, we have to take another break.
I know.
But stay with us because when we come back, I'm going to ask Jenn about how life is now and what advice she has for those of us who are too afraid to pursue our dreams when we come back. Welcome back to Bold Leaps. I'm here with Jenn Robertson.
Hi, I'm still here.
Still here.
That's the story. I'm still here.
How is life now?
Good. It's busy.
So busy.
But busy is you know, I've been waiting for busy my whole life.
Exactly.
So I'm thrilled.
Tell me about Ginny and Georgia, one of the absolute highest ranking, biggest sensations
wild.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
Ellen, the bright light, the mother,
The wine swilling, friendly
Wine-
neighbor.
Yes.
I love playing Ellen. I love it. Yeah. We've been greenlit for season 3 and 4.
Yay.
So we'll be starting season 3 very soon.
Yay.
People are messaging all the time, asking. I'm like, soon. And then we'll have to, you know, edit it, and then we'll have to put it into like however many hundreds of languages, and then it'll be on your screens, and you'll watch it in one weekend and go, when's the next one?
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Now, did that show come as a result of, it came as a result of
Right
Schitt's
on
Creek?
the heels of Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
So Schitt's Creek finished in April, and this one started in August.
So has the world opened up to you? Has it fallen at your feet, asking you can have whatever you
I
want?
don't think it's fallen at my feet, but I certainly am very lucky to get maybe different opportunities that I didn't get before. I get to sit and I get to chat with you, and I in terms of roles and stuff, I have a little more opportunity to do some different things, which is wonderful. It's perfect because I'm 52. And they love older women in Hollywood. They love them.
I love that you're comfortable with your age.
Yeah.
That's so important.
I'm lucky to be 52. I'm lucky to we get so
Absolutely.
weird
I
about
know.
all of it. And then
I
people
know,
go,
I'm
you look
60.
great you
Yeah.
look fantastic. But it's like, what does anything age look like anymore? I don't know.
And who cares?
We're both older than the Golden Girls when they shot that show. So that's a little perspective.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
What was the biggest lesson that you learned throughout everything in your career?
I would say just keep going because you'll get there eventually, but it might take longer than you thought. That was the big surprise for me. I knew what I wanted. I knew the types of things I wanted to do. Just the amount of time it took me to get there was a lot longer than I thought it would be.
And so patience.
Just stay dedicated to your craft. Just keep working. Just keep finding ways of improving yourself. When I decided I wanted to write, I took a bunch of writing classes. Don't be afraid. And also try, if you can, to partner with people who are better than you.
That's a good one.
Just try to find people. If you're new to a form of art of any kind, see if you can find somebody who's got more experience, who's a little higher up, to mentor you or teach you or to perform with or write with or edit your work. Any way you can connect yourself to those people.
Now, what about for people who are too afraid to pursue their dreams? What would you say to them?
Well, the alternative is to live a very dull and comfortable life. And not that your life is dull, but if you have a thing, man, what a gift that we get to be on this planet and do these things. So don't let it go by. It doesn't matter how old you are. It does not matter. There is no window of opportunity. Jocelyn Schitt came to me when I was 43 years old. And on most of the other actors and actresses that I knew had given up by that point and done something else. But I just stayed with it. And it doesn't mean that you should not give up. And then it's never too late to start it. Just start it. You don't have to be famous at something to get joy from it and to feel good about it. We're so hung up on being famous, that means you've made it. It doesn't, that doesn't mean you've made it. I technically was making it for 20 years before because I was just doing my craft and going and make people laugh and going to London and bombing in front of a bunch of people or you're just doing it as the gift.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Well, I think you're a gift.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for all the roles that you take and the writing that you do, because you really do shine bright and you make so many people laugh. And what more do we need on the planet right now than more people that make us laugh? That's really what we do. So or what we need. So thank you so much for everything you do, and I can't wait for everything else that you're doing in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was nice to chat with you.
It was so nice. Well, that's it for another episode of Bold Leaps. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to YouTube for more inspiring episodes. Special thanks to our sponsor, Fresh Street Market. And remember, every step you take is a step toward your dreams.